I'm Tara Bradner, and this is Hopeful Hints, an infertility podcast, where you will receive quick, hopeful hints to guide you through infertility. Here you will find education, inspiration, and most importantly, find peace as you walk through this journey to fulfill your family vision. Hello and welcome to Hopeful Hints. I'm your host, Tara Bradner, and today's Hopeful Hints are going to cover 10 steps to becoming an advocate. The link will be located in my show notes for a free download to help navigate. I am so excited to bring this to you. For those that might be new to learning who Tara Bradner is, I am a huge advocate for infertility. I have worked personally with North Dakota state legislation for 2 sessions now to advance infertility and fertility preservation healthcare benefits, and I am just so passionate about helping you share your story, whatever that may look like. We're going to get more into that. Today we're going to cover becoming an advocate. This is going to cover how to share your story. So if you haven't shared your story, and when I say share your story, that simply means telling one person. It could mean telling your employer. It could be sharing it on social media. Sharing your story is however you and your spouse decide that may look like. April 18th through the 24th is National Infertility Awareness Week. I personally wish it was Infertility Awareness Month. So all month long, I'm going to be sharing podcasts and blogs and social media inspiration on advocating for yourself as a patient when going through infertility, but also advocating for how to share your story in addition to any legislative impact and inspiration that I have from my experience. So follow along all month long for topics and things on this. I truly believe now more than ever, your story deserves to be heard. Your story matters. Sharing your story I truly mean this, can move mountains. Taking legislative efforts, on the other hand, can be scary. So keep it in mind. You can use this episode today to help navigate through sharing your story through legislative efforts, because many of you live in states where these efforts are happening, or it can be simply sharing your story with your family, your best friend, your employer, on social media. Once again, sharing is whatever you choose it to be. So we know opening up can be daunting and overwhelming. 61% of women do not share their infertility diagnosis with friends and family. That is why I am so passionate about helping you do that, because you do not deserve to sit in this lonely space. And I want you to know before I even begin that you're not alone. And even if that one person is myself, please reach out to me. I am always here for you. You are not alone. So let's get started. Step number 1, spend time with your partner deciding how much you want to share. So this is a decision that only you and your spouse can decide. I firmly believe in that. It is what you're comfortable with. It can be 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 1 paragraph, 10 pages. How much you share truly is a unique experience and approach for you. There's no right or wrong answer. So once again, it is whatever you decide should be shared. That is what should be shared. Now, if you're looking at sharing for legislation purposes, I think it's important to decide how much you want to share on the cost barrier, because we know that cost is the number 1 barrier to care. So consider that in the beginning, how much you want to disclose. Step number 2, find the right time to sit down at your computer or grab a notebook and pen and let whatever comes to your fingers be the start of your sharing journey. Know that many emotions are going to come to the surface, but do not second guess a single thing. Let it out. The world deserves to hear your story. I wish someone would have told me how emotional this can be, so don't be surprised if you start to cry and have to take a break from that. These are your experiences and your feelings, and they are valid. Deciding to share your infertility story can be one of the most challenging, yet healing decisions you make. Many individuals that I have talked to note that once they get these words out on paper, typing, and in their journal, they are overcome with a sense of relief and it's almost like the start of a whole new healing experience. So step number 1 and 2 are 2 big steps that we're going to start out with, and you may have to walk away and come back to this for a while. Step 3, seek out the current activity occurring within your state. So this step's going to be if you are wanting to share your story for legislation purposes. The best way you can do this is by reaching out to 2 organizations, Fertility Within Reach or Resolve. They are national organizations that are typically aware of all grassroots efforts occurring within your state. Now, these are grassroots efforts, so they are started by individuals typically with zero experience or knowledge on the legislation or legal process. They're bankers, they're teachers, they're healthcare providers. They are just everyday people with a passion and a story to make a change. Typically, you can find them on Facebook by searching the term your state's name and fertility advocates. So seek and see if any of those are occurring. If you're not ready to help with that, you can also use Facebook or Instagram or any other social media to try and find support groups or different individuals that are going through the same steps that you are. Once again, here's where I like to share, you are not alone. Step 4, I already said this, but know that zero political or legislative experience is needed. These efforts truly are groups or individuals just like you coming together to join voices, stories, connections, and research efforts to create change and improve family building options for everybody in their state. Sounds just like you if you're listening to this. Step 5, download the resource and toolkits from pages such as Fertility Within Reach or Resolve. These organizations have developed ways to approach legislative processes or your employer. They have formulated toolkits to help with this and provided a robust amount of resources to navigate you through this process. They also have resources available on ways to share your story and the impact that this has. Step 6, follow call to actions that are going on within your state. As bills work their way through legislation, there's going to be call to actions that are made quick, last minute. They're going to need timely action taken by you. Activities may include sharing on social media, sharing your story by emailing your local district representative, or emailing different legislative parties involved with decision making. It could even include making a phone call, but don't worry. If you're not ready for that, that's okay. Step 7, have your family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and everyone you know perform step 6. There is power in the numbers when legislators see their mailboxes full of stories and connections with this issue being addressed. They will become curious and will not be able to overlook this issue. Now, know that this step could occur multiple times during a legislation session because bills move from one side, either Senate to House or House to Senate, and they go through multiple committee hearings. So it's vital that we stay alert and know what's happening. Step 8, consider taking part in providing a personal testimony. This can be written and in person or nowadays virtual, which is the new in person. Testifying is life-changing and one of the most empowering things I've ever done. I cried both times, so once again, I like to disclose that emotions are normal. They can happen after you're complete with your testimony, but no, it is powerful. These are only 2 to 5 minutes. Every state's different, but they are incredibly quick. There are many of us who have done this already. We're here to help you do this. You will be coached and helped with this step if you are working with other grassroots individuals or organizations doing this. No worries, we will help you through this. Step 9, if there are no efforts currently happening in your state, maybe that's a calling for you to do this. Remember, no experience is needed at all other than your passion for helping others going through infertility or needing fertility preservation and sharing your story. Fertility Within Reach and Resolve will walk you through the entire process and become the best teammates possible when going through this. Step 10. In addition to legislative efforts, don't forget you can always work with your employer to make these changes outside of legislative efforts. This typically involves reaching out to the individual who works in your human resource department, and you guessed it, Fertility Within Reach and Resolve have resources and programs in place to help you through this. I'm truly passionate. I can be here to help you through this if you're not sure. this is something that I am here to help you with. Join us next week for hopeful hints to bring you peace as you walk through your infertility journey. And don't forget, download from the show notes the 10-step process I discussed today to help you and your partner walk through this process. Your story matters and you are worthy.